good closing question is, do you have anything that you would like to share with the public that, that can arm us with more information? I know you've given us websites, but just overall, just kind of any final thoughts on the topic that you'd like to arm the readers with?
Yeah, so what I would like to do is talk about the process itself. So on those very, very rare, and again, like I said, 33 out of 1.8 million contacts, nearly 1.8 million, we enter into this process which we call the review of a categorical use of force. So I'm going to briefly go through that without getting too down in the weeds. There's an investigation on scene that occurs immediately by the first supervisor that arrives at scene. We separate the officers, we preserve evidence, we ensure the care of anyone that's injured by any of our weapon systems before we do anything else. So that scene is frozen, the story is locked in, no one can talk to each other and get their story right. We've taken effective measures post-consent decree to make sure that those things are all in place. Going forward, we will conduct a very exhaustive investigation, which is the part that I used to be responsible for, and we will leave no stone unturned. And I think with the passing of SB 1421, when you start seeing some of the reports that are going to come out, I don't know how you feel about reading a 2,000-page report, but we're certainly
for the public with that the bill.
Correct, right. So those are going to be available online, and if anyone has the time and they would like to read those, I strongly encourage them to do it.
So when I said share the bill, the SV allows the public an opportunity to read this.
Correct,
right?
and it also allows them the opportunity to listen to the interviews and to view the video if it exists. I strongly encourage the public to do that. It will give great insight into the depth in which we investigate these instances. So it goes from there. We conduct that investigation. We shortly thereafter brief the chief of police on any immediate pressing issues. And then it goes into this investigative cycle where for months we're looking at every single witness we interview, what the officer's actions were, the use of the weapon system. I mean, it runs the gamut. We turn these things, we search the entire community for video. We interview people that may have been driving by, happened by, standing by, whole 9 yards. We interview them all. We put it all on tape. We don't hide anything. So that whole thing goes to what we call a use of force review board once the investigation is complete. And those are staff officers that make a determination as to whether everything was in policy, was it done correctly, and if you've fallen short, what are the remedies for where you've fallen short and what are the suggested outcomes. Once that is done, a report is completed and the entire report along with the incident is reviewed with the chief of police. The chief of police provides his recommendations, and then that goes to the Board of Police Commissioners. During that entire process, from the second it happens to when the determination is made as to whether it is in or out of policy, we are accompanied by the Inspector General, which is an independent arm and has nothing to do with our investigation. They look at it critically from a distance. They're allowed to look at all of the material for the investigation, and they prepare a report for the police commission as well. And that's every single one of these, without exception. In addition, the district attorney's office will roll when we strike someone with gunfire, and they will follow that investigation from the start, from the notification when you get that phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, like I used to get many times, all the way through. And they will make an independent determination, independent of both the Board of Police Commissioners and the department, as to whether criminal charges should be filed. That's all happening concurrently all the way down the line. Now, when I say independent, I can't call Jackie Lacey up and say, hey, Jackie, I want you to consider this. It doesn't, I know that's the way it works in movies. It doesn't work like that here. There is no phone call to Jackie Lacey or her people telling her which way it should or should not go. That wasn't happening before, and it's never going to happen. Jackie Lacey is a very independent district attorney, very independent, and she and her attorneys make a determination as to whether there's a violation of law. And I can tell you, they would have no compunction whatsoever if they thought a Los Angeles police officer was outside of the law in an application of force with charging us. It's happened before. It has happened. It goes through that entire process. The officer is provided an opportunity to listen to the evidence. It goes to the Board of Police Commissioners, and they make a determination as to whether it is in or out of policy. Once they make that determination, it goes back to the chief of police to make a determination as to whether there will or will not be discipline and what level it will be applied. Because the chief makes the final determination on all discipline. And even beyond that, the officer has an opportunity to appeal the decision by the Board of Police Commissioners in a different process, which we call an administrative appeal. But quite often it gets to that point, and then a final determination is made, and then the investigation is filed. These investigations are audited on a regular basis. They're examined for training purposes. There's just a lot of scrutiny. Training division comes in and provides information as to whether we thought it was or was not in policy. Our Office of Constitutional Policing can weigh in and say, well, yeah, this is the policy, but this is really the way it should have been interpreted, and this was or was not within our constitutional policing guidelines. Our risk management will come in and make a determination as to what the risk management principles are in terms of whether this was a good application of force or not. So it is an exhaustive review that is applied to each individual incident.
And I think that's what's, and thank you for sharing that, because a lot of citizens, I think, assume that, as you were sharing, like the movies, there's a lot of inter-department, coordinations and overlapping, and, basically you're not going to be able to, have justice or have just due, because there's a lot of, a good boy network or fraternal, people working together. But it sounds like if things are running exactly the way you say they are running, then I do believe it sounds like the just due process is getting done.
Yeah, and I would refer people to some of the products that we put out online. They really provide a lot of insightful information that just the media will never put it out there, because the media only has a snippet of time that they can apply to these stories. And they're not going to go into the exhaustive analysis.
This is when you're like the voice, when you were saying that you would sometimes you're going in dialogue.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
basically the public and the actual footage and the
right. In the context of why were the officers there and how did this incident occur. Quite often the media is not going to have the time to go into the entire story. Well, the media is never going to have the time to go into the entire story.
But we appreciate you all, because this is why we're here, to hopefully bridge the gap more and allow the public to, again, we want as much information as we can. And I think
Absolutely.
So many times it's just not known that it's there.
Right.
And it's,
right.
out of sight, out of mind is when I say people just kind of, go about their business. But now that we have an understanding and continue to work together, I think that's what our public's looking for. So we appreciate it.
And I think if people go to LAPD HQ, they'll be notified whenever these incidents occur, because we generally put them out.
LAPD HQ, is that part of it? Do you go to LAPD.com and then find it, or just LAPD HQ?
Well, LAPD HQ is on Twitter, and it's on the social media. So if you follow that, you'll know virtually in real time when we have these incidents. And then what I would recommend, I mean, it would be great, and I'm going to close with this, if a community member could just kind of track our process all the way through, and then look at lapdonline.org, or watch when the incident actually goes to police commission. Because at the end of each police commission meeting, when we go in closed session, our executive director, Mr. T. Fink, will come out and give the decision of the board live on Channel 35, or if you're online and watching the police commission meetings. So you'll know the determination at the end of that meeting. And I recommend people, look at the report that's issued by the Inspector General afterwards, because you'll get information you'll never get anywhere else.
Yeah. And I think the only thing is that there's a certain amount, like 40 some odd days before I think the police department releases like certain, I think, the footage or information to the public.
So it's 45 days before we release, 45 days after the incident occurs. Right. But when the Inspector General is done with the report after the board renders the decision, those generally going to go up the next couple of days. Yeah. And that's a really good report for the public to read.
Well, look, I appreciate this. I know this is a little exhausting for you to kind of.
No, not at all. Always available.
It's very important, and I think this will still bring about more dialogue. Because I know the public is going to see this and say, "Wait, you didn't," So we're definitely, this is just a start.
I welcome the questions. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. All righty.
Thank you all for reading the LA Sentinel, and definitely check us out online, www.lasentinel.net, and check us out on Twitter and Facebook as well.